look like you're about to get excited for no reason. Hello! Ouchies! I have had an idea on my list for absolute ages. Let's be real, I've had a lot of ideas on my list for absolute ages, but there's only one that is relevant to this video. I want to take a stretch of fabric, a swath, and sew it into a tube, and then fit it perfectly to my body shape using pleats, or I guess it would be tucks because they would be sewn closed. Why? I don't know. This might be some official form of draping. This might be technically the start of pattern making. I do not know about such things. I just thought, hey, that'd be interesting to try. And if it does work out, then yeah, technically I guess it would be the beginning of a pattern that could be helpful later. I was kind of hoping I'd be able to finally try this idea after my triple attempt at constructing a DIY custom dress form. Because for those of you who haven't puzzled it together, maybe don't know much about sewing, hi, welcome. You actually don't need to know anything about sewing to have a good time here. This would be a difficult thing to do on yourself. I would say impossible, but I feel like I'd have to consult a double-jointed person first. You kind of need a dress form that is specific to your measurements in order to make something that is so specific to your measurements, yeah? Or you would just need someone else to make it on you. I don't have that either. In case you didn't see my triple attempt at constructing a DIY dress form, it didn't turn out splendidly, or at least it didn't turn out accurately in any of the attempts. I had a lot of fun and learned a lot, so it was a splendid experience for me. However, there are perks to being a YouTuber. Ooh, perks! The perk in question here is that sometimes extremely skilled people watch your videos and then offer to gift you the thing that they make with their extreme skills. Sarah of Bespoke Forms is the skilled person who reached out to me asking if I would be interested in a custom dress form made by her. And while I was fully intending to try again myself at some point, and I'm still fully intending to, because you know, learning is fun, I 100% expect that attempt to happen in like 2 years. Did I mention I have a very large project list? So heck yes, I want a custom dress form made by an actual professional, huzzah, and thank you very much. One lucky viewer will also get to experience the perks of being a YouTuber in this exact instance, so stick around to the end to hear more about that. Don't just skip there, there's no rush. That's not gonna help you at all. So obviously, before we can get anywhere close to my tube into a dress idea, we need the actual dress form, which means Sarah needs my measurements so she can make the actual dress form. Let's see how we do this. Oh, there's a video tutorial. Helpful. Okay, so she's using like a 3D scan app called Kiri Engine, where you take a bunch of photos all around a person, and then the app is able to create that 3D scan. You send that file to Sarah, and she has a literal 3D shape of your body to make her dress form off of. So that's really cool. Little problem for me at this exact moment, Matt is not here. He is on tour. So I don't have somebody to take 100 photos of me at the moment. That's okay though. I'm about to go meet up with him in London to spend some time together. So, I guess let's just go there. While hanging out with Matt in London, we wandered our way into a random parking lot with lots of light and room, and he followed the directions provided to take a ton of photos of me while I stood very, very still. The app turns these photos into a 3D scan of your body, which yes, looks super crazy and lumpy and weird, but it works. That all gets sent to Sarah at Bespoke Forms so she can work her magic, starting by removing the parts of the body she doesn't need. No arms, please. And then smoothing out all of those lumps. Just the unwanted lumps. We're keeping the boobs and the butt and the tummy and all that stuff Real bodies are lumpy, y'all. We've now got some semblance of a dress form, exactly my size and shape, so Sarah starts adding seam lines which are specific to each dress form, to each different body. Now here's where the process starts entering the realm of, huh, in my brain, which is why she's the expert. Sarah unwraps the UV of the model to create the actual pattern, much like you would peel a tangerine and be able to lay the peel flat if you separate it into small enough pieces. She checks the stretch of each piece to make sure there's no unexpected distortion and labels every piece according to where it was on the body. Now she's got a pattern that is very specific to me, which she can transfer to Foss shape fabric, this material that's soft and sewable at first and then hardens when activated by heat, which she uses to sew up the dress form. And it has arrived! Yay. That's a lot of squishy scratchies. This is honestly so much lighter than I thought it would be, which is really cool because, you know, who wants to be dragging a super heavy dress form around? Oh, do you want to sniff? Oh, we're doing some intense sniffing over here. Da, 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 da. Is me. Oh, y'all. First of all, it's very light. What's up? What does it smell like? It's like, I don't know, y'all. I can just tell looking at it, having had the experience of making 3 dress forms off of my shape, none of which really turned out exactly like my shape, I can just look at this and be like, oh yeah, that's my shape. This actually looks proper. The boobs look like they're in the right place as opposed to some of the other ones that I made. It's got all of the pros that I was looking for. Properly sized, first of all. Accurate to my shape, but also pinnable and super light. She sent me the tripod to put it on and everything too. I'm so excited to make something with this and see how it turns out. I mean, look. You can tell when I do this. It's like perfectly covering my body and my arms are coming out of the right place. Twinning. Oh, it's got such a good structure. You know? Inner structure, stability, support, all that stuff. That was something I struggled with in the DIY version. Okay. Outfit change, because I have an appointment today. Say hello to my tube of fabric. I kinda wanted to go even bigger than this. That was a big sneeze. But then I thought, calm yourself, rein it in. I'm hoping that the lines on this, you know, the grid is basically going to assist me like it would if you were drawing out a pattern. I did check to make sure that the lines are straight. They're actually woven in on this one. They're not printed on. It is a major shedder though, so I went ahead and did like a very simple hem around the top and the bottom, and then I put the zipper in backwards, which I'm gonna claim was on purpose. It wasn't. I was totally just not paying attention. But actually, I think it will be helpful because basically I'm gonna have to work on this, whether on the mannequin or on myself, inside out, so it will be easier to zip up because the zipper is inside out. Totally on purpose. So yeah, I don't hugely have a concept of what I'm doing here, but I guess I don't have a follow-up for that. I don't hugely have a concept of what I'm doing here, period. I have the 4 equal points of my fabric though. The 2 side seams, the zipper should be perfectly in the back, and then I marked, if I can find it, the perfect center of the front. There it is. So I'm gonna start by pinning those 4 points, and then, I don't know, just start like pinching and pinning until it fits? Sure. Once I had my four corners pinned in place, I started making pleats evenly spaced across the front, and yeah, gingham was the way to go. Each square is 1 inch, so I could make sure that all of my panels started out as 2 inches wide or 2 squares wide at the top, though that will obviously alter as they go around my bust and waist. I then realized that I shouldn't have dropped the neckline around the armpits like this, but should actually keep it straight across the top and cut down the neckline later if necessary. By pinning the center of what should be a panel onto the dress form, I could then pinch the extra material out and pin it vertically to create that tuck, continuing this method around the first fourth of the dress until it was fitting snugly to the body. Now I just gotta do the same thing around the whole dress form. Once I had the tucks all pinned, I marked my waistline and possibly neckline with a heat erasable pin, and this is what we've got. We can now, theoretically, just sew all those tucks closed and we should have a fairly well-fitting dress, right? I ignored all the lines and squares on the fabric when sewing and just followed my pin lines as closely as possible, even if they didn't make sense to me in the moment, which quite often they did not. Trust the pins! The pins remember. With all the tucks sewn and all the pins removed, she goes back on the dress form to check my work. Seems all good. Let's try it on the real form, aka me. Y'all, eep! It's a little big around, which I anticipated because I'm trying to get such a tight-fitting garment here. The dress form is my exact relaxed measurements, but the human body is squishy, which means if you want a garment that sucks it in all around, it's gonna have to be smaller than your actual measurements. I'm just gonna make a few adjustments and we should be good to go. So I essentially took up the sides. I basically removed the center pleat and brought the next two pleats together. And that was enough. I think I slightly touched up this one right here. I added like 1/2 centimeter, or I took it in like 1/2 centimeter on both sides. We are now fitting. I mean, it's strapless with no support. And sorry if my sound is going everywhere. I have no pockets and nothing to clip it to. It feels like it's staying up. And if I were to make an actual strapless dress like this, I would put some sort of boning in it probably. I mean, I know it's hard to tell right now because all the flappies are on the outside, but like, it's fitting and that was so easy. Y'all, I think I really like draping. But yeah, I stopped all of my sewing right here, which looks kind of cute, but is not really what I wanted. I wanted to make a princess seam style dress, but with a bazillion panels. So what I'm actually going to do now is continue my tucks out into the skirt, essentially out until each pleat becomes not a pleat. Like I want to run each one off the fabric on every single one of these so that it kind of slopes down into the full skirt rather than hitting the waist and then opening into pleats. Although this would also be cute. Was that my only thought? Yeah, that's kind of all I need to do. And then once I've done that, I think I can rip the zipper out, put it in the right way around, and cut off all of my excess material. And like, technically we'll have a dress. Good lord, that was fast. So much easier than drafting it with math. I will say that for sure. I was gonna totally wing it here and just sew some lines from the end of each tuck, but then I got to thinking of how much seam ripping that would be if I didn't slope fast enough, and remembered that the point of having a dress form in your size is, using it. I want the tucks to slope out over the hips smoothly without being tight against them, although this is something that I can easily alter later on according to what I want this pattern to become. And then the seam from those tucks needs to go all the way to the bottom hem, because basically I'm inspired by all those thin paneled princess seam dresses I've been seeing lately, and if this dress is gonna serve as the pattern for that, then I need each panel to be a separate pattern piece. Also, if it was all one pattern piece, that would be ridiculously hard to cut out. You would need so much fabric. How are there still more? Oh my god, there's still so many more. Whose idea was this? Last one. God, these better be right. It's kind of impossible to tell with it inside out now, like how it looks, but it still fits. So I think we're fine. I guess now we just start chopping it up. Yay! Not scary at all. Before we start snipping stuff, I want to rip out that zipper and turn it around. And while I'm at it, I just went ahead and replaced it with another one because it got a lot of stray threads caught in there and I don't feel like pulling them out right now. Zipper on the inside where it belongs. Now let's chop stuff up. Huzzah, it fits! Ah! Y'all, that worked out pretty dang well. Also, it's been ages since I've worn a strapless dress. My shoulders are so free. Now you may be thinking, hey, that dress doesn't have any pockets in it. Or you might be thinking, did you finish any of your seams on that extremely fraying fabric? Or you might be thinking, that strapless dress is unlined and completely unstructured. Not to mention, the gingham is all over the place. If you are thinking any of those things, then yes, you are entirely correct. I was not kidding when I said this dress is gonna be a pattern. Did I say that? I don't know if I ever said that at any point. This dress is gonna be a pattern. It looks super cute, but we're gonna rip it up. Don't worry, I will get footage of it first. We'll see all that at the end. There'll be a fun little transition, probably. I don't know, I haven't done it yet. But yeah, it's time for seam ripping. I'm gonna take this whole thing apart, and then we're gonna make the real dress. I actually gotta go choose some fabric for that. Puppy. Boop, boop, boop. I like your butt. Cuddles, 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 cuddles. You're so nice. I drew in the seam lines for the bodice of the whole dress first, and then carefully seam ripped the top part and uncarefully ripped the lower half. Because after the hips, it doesn't really matter. I then trimmed off the seam allowance for that upper half, laid them all out, labeled them, and this is what I've got. Did I need to do the whole dress? Probably not. We only need half for the pattern, but I wanted to compare the two sides and choose the one I think is best, which is the right side in my opinion. The pieces just seem a little more even and matchy-matchy? I don't know, but we're going with it. Now I can take those pieces and one by one trace them onto my wrapping paper that I use instead of pattern paper because I can't be bothered to buy actual pattern paper. Again, I only really need the top part, so I'm gonna be tracing the top 12 inches of each panel, and of course, these are also sans seam allowance. The idea is that I can alter the skirt of any dress I make with this pattern, making the panels wider or more narrow or more curvy or adding godets, because it won't really matter. My plan with giving the dress a straight around strapless top is that I could in the future add various neckline styles or straps to it with some level of ease, although for the first attempt, I am gonna stick with the same strapless style. So whip out some new fabric, let's make the real thing. I'm using this super cute material I got a bunch of a long time ago and already made one dress out of, and we are just totally winging it in the will I have enough front? Genuinely no idea. Not even gonna check in advance, cause we're already cutting stuff out. I'm adding 1/2 inch of seam allowance on the sides, 1 inch on the top just to be safe, and aiming for about the same length as my mock-up dress, but with each panel evenly sized as it expands, ending at a modest 8 inches on the hemline. What's 8 times 18? It's whatever this is! And hey, I had enough fabric, huzzah! I was even able to get a bodice lining and pockets out of that leftover bit. I sewed the many lining pieces together, checked that they fit, yay they do, then flat felled all the seams and added some zip tie boning for structure. I could then get started on the outer dress, all 19 pieces of it. This is ridiculous!
2,000 years later.
There's so many pins in this. Ouch. Oh lord. We gotta put the bra. Ow. Ow. Yo, I'm pretty sure this fits exactly as tightly as I want it to fit, but that means it's really hard to zip up when your zipper is pinned in place. Ow, ow. This is also not a good zipper. I think I'm gonna have to switch zippers and try again. I pinned in a better operating zipper, and look at that, it does indeed fit very snugly as I hoped it would. Whee! Y'all, I am in love with this dress. I'm so glad I chose this fabric. It's adorable. Eep! While attaching the lining to the outer layer, I turned the neckline into a sweetheart, cause why not? Wait, I can do that better. Tra-la! Let's ignore the 2 hours of work that came before that tra-la. Last thing, I have some pink lace that matches this fabric perfectly, so I'm considering adding it to the neckline and hem, but I could do it flat like this, or I could ruffle it up a little bit first, or maybe I should leave it off. I really don't know. I'm very undecided, which means 'tis time for an Instagram poll, and you'll get to see what the choice was, right now. I went with no lace. Thanks for coming along with me on that roller coaster. Most people said, do the ruffled lace, it's so cute. But then several people, y'all know me well, messaged me to say, won't that be a sensory nightmare? And I was reminded of why I so rarely use trim. Because yes, it would be a sensory nightmare. And ultimately, I want to be making clothes that I am very likely to wear. So it seemed best to nix the lace. It is an easy thing that I could always add on later, like at any point. I could add lace to this dress if I wanted. I might also end up adding some spaghetti straps to it because y'all, I have learned some things about strapless dresses. Or really, I already knew all of this stuff, but I saw it put into practice here, I guess. Namely, that our bodies are insane, and the amount that they change from the simple act of taking a breath, especially a deep breath, is phenomenal. Therefore, if you want a strapless dress to fit you, as in, it's not going to fall off or shift or even slip down a little bit, you kind of have to fit it to your body when you are the most exhaled. Not even not breathing, because we can be not breathing and still be expanding our bodies, right? So honestly, I think if I wanted a strapless dress that would not shift around on me whatsoever, it would need to be corset laced in the back. I guess not corset laced, just laced. The closure would need to be lacing so that it could really adjust to every little change of my body, because y'all, your body changes so much. Also, those of us with les boobs, the shape and placement and I guess not the overall mass, but a lot of things change about your boobs depending on what bra you're wearing. So as of now, I do not have a good strapless bra. I've just never found one, or I've never bothered trying to find one, I guess. But if I were to get a really good strapless bra and wear it with this dress, I'm not sure the dress would fit me the same way. I think it would still fit me, as in it would zip up and stuff, but the under bust area, I think would probably have weird wrinkles in it, because this is fitted to me with no bra. Ooh. So yeah, I have learned so much from this entire process, from my first little draping exploration, I guess. I think I've sort of unofficially draped in the past. I've done some stuff that could count as draping, but this is the first time really doing it on a dress form that's my size, and it was so much fun to explore. I feel like I've learned an insane amount, and I now have the massively paneled dress pattern, I guess we could call it, that I have long since wanted. Y'all, I already have at least 4 dress designs that just immediately come to mind that I've been waiting for this pattern to do. Yes? I have ideas! And I so would not have wanted to, like, mathematically pattern draft this style of a dress. It would have been bonkers. It would have taken a lot more mock-ups. That's the thing, I got here with essentially 1 mock-up, and I love that. So speaking of the dress form, like I mentioned back at the start of this video, which was so long ago for me in real life, wow, we have an exciting little bonus wahoo for y'all. Sarah of Bespoke Forms has very generously offered to give away a free custom dress form to one of my viewers. So yay, we're doing a giveaway! The method that I did last time for a giveaway worked great, so we're gonna do that again. There is a Google form linked in the description. It's gonna ask you for your name. It does not have to be your real name, just something you would like us to call you. Your email address, which does need to be real because we would need to get in touch with you if you are selected as the winner. And this is not on the form, but we are also asking that you go give Bespoke Forms a follow either on their Instagram or their Facebook page, whichever works better for you. The giveaway is going to be open for 1 week, starting from the posting of this video, and at the end of that week, a winner will be randomly selected. I will contact you via email and get you connected with Sarah, who will take over from there to make your dress form. I do have to note that you have 1 week to respond to the email or another winner will be selected, and that's just because sometimes y'all, I don't know how it happens, but you never hear back. The dress form will be entirely free, including shipping to anywhere in the world, but please do make sure that you are personally comfortable using the 3D body scanning app that Sarah uses if you're gonna be entering. And if you are simply in the market for a really well-made, custom to your body dress form, then do check out Bespoke Forms. I've also linked their shop in the description. Sarah is also looking into creating a DIY kit version of this, where she would create the pattern for you based on your scan and then provide all of the materials except the stuffing for you to sew up. This could be a more affordable option for those who are capable of doing the construction part on their own, so let her know in the comments if you're interested in that. She is going to be looking out for your opinions. Massive, massive thanks to Sarah for this incredible gift. I am so excited to continue utilizing it. I have so many dress designs that will just be way easier for me to create if I'm able to drape them on a form rather than having to pattern them out. I think draping is just way more how my brain thrives. I do want to wrap this up with my usual pile of disclaimers or reminders or whatever you want to call them. Please remember that expensive tools are not necessary to start your sewing journey. A dress form is not necessary. It is not a barrier to entry. I mean, I sewed for years without one. There are also many ways to custom make your own dress form on a budget, some of which I explored in the video that inspired Sarah to reach out to me in the first place. Around these here parts, we just like to keep in mind that what is best for one person or preferred for one person isn't necessarily best or preferred for another person. So no dress form, store-bought dress form, adjustable dress form, DIY dress form, custom made for you dress form, they are all valid and workable options. Do what is best for you, for the space that you have, for the budget you have, for the skills and capabilities that you currently have, yeah? This has been Disclaimers with Charlie. Later, taters. Then you would sew it around. Am I still filming? I got distracted. Adjust. Ah, get away, box. That was a really good slide. Dried carrot on the floor. I haven't spoken yet today. Why is your whole front wet? Okay, I'm gonna get her. Oh, that was loud. What you doing back there? Being a cutie? Ha ha. Hi, bubby. Okay, bye. Because when I say full skirt, I always assume I'm referring to a full circle skirt. Why are you still talking? You don't have to do this. Sarah has... Have I mentioned I haven't talked yet today?